can always find us on Twitter and Instagram at A Right Side. Let's keep the conversation going with the hashtag StrongTalk. I'm Armstrong Williams, and welcome back. So, everyone, and it may be different, love their children. They do. They may not always show it. Some cannot express it, while others express it and show it well. And we love our children. No matter what they become, no matter how high they soar, or how sad they make us, we love our children. A parent's happiness, especially a mother, is so intertwined with the happiness of that child. Children can do some of the darnest things, can say some of the darnest things. It seems as though the more troubled the child is, the more the parent draws near, because their parent realizes that child needs them. And while fathers may be stern and mothers may be emotional and engaging and teary-eyed, fathers in their own way love their sons and daughters in ways that are unimaginable, that sometimes the child or the young adult just cannot seem to understand or see. So why do I say this today? I saw a young man, 15 years old, being apprehended and put in handcuffs by law enforcement because he made a terrorist threat, threatening to kill and destroy lives. And he made this through social media. And the mother was standing there crying and emotional, saying, "This is not my child. My child was just having fun. It was a joke. My child would never do anything like that. He's only a child. He's 15 years old." And yet the law enforcement officials said, yet these threats are made so often in this country, and they're carried out, and innocent people die for no reason at all, and families are shattered for a lifetime. So we have no choice but to arrest and pursue these postings where young people feel they want the world to know that they're capable of mayhem and murder and creating chaos. And so, is law enforcement correct to apprehend them before they have a chance to do what was done in Ohio, El Paso, Texas, and other places? Yes. What is there for them to do except arrest your child, your loved one, your son or daughter that you may not even recognize anymore? You may have no idea that they were capable of these kind of postings and this kind of behavior. Maybe we don't know our children as well as we should. And maybe our children are very good at disguising and being what they need to be in your presence and whatever else they need to be when they're with their ilk, the ilk that think the way that they do, when they want to wreak havoc on society. Something has to be done to stop these threats and this chaos by these young men especially, who are destroying and bringing about fear to our culture. Yes, law enforcement is correct. But what happens after you arrest them? Do you warn them? Do you lock them up for a few days or a few weeks and place them back out in society? This is why I need to engage you today. You know the consequences of when you post these threats against innocent people and law enforcement on any social media. When you put it in writing, you're asking to be arrested, in my opinion. You're crying out for help. You're begging for someone to stop you before you bring about unbearable grief on some family's life. Is it enough just to arrest them? And this is where my heart cracks, because I don't think so. I think in this day and time, if your child, your son, your daughter making these threats, when you've seen the consequences of these threats, that child should be put away for at least a year. I'm sorry. Detention? No. Jail. They need to be put away for a year to set an example and set a precedent that this kind of behavior cannot be tolerated in America. We've got to draw the line. Am I harsh for those of you in my comment section? Am I being unfair? Imagine if it were your loved one suffered the consequences of this person's twisted thoughts, of their hatred, of wanting to make a name for themselves. No conscience for human life. No conscience for somebody dead and injured and lost their way of life. And maybe a year is not enough. But I think law enforcement has it right. I've been reading where over 30 people have been arrested over the last month or so. But the issue is, what do you do with them when they're caught? If you're dumb and stupid and emboldened enough to place that on social media, then you should suffer the consequences. 15, 26, 30, the age doesn't matter. If you're mature enough to write it and mature enough to carry it out, you should be stopped in your tracks. It is better that you're locked up and forgotten about for at least a year or maybe 5 than innocent people and innocent families' lives to be destroyed for no reason at all. Law enforcement is right. At all costs, stop these threats in their tracks. And let these young people, if they think they're so big and grown and you can't tell them anything, they curse at their parents, they threaten their parents, they're out of control. If you think you're so big and bad that you can post this on social media, then you should be big and bad enough to pay the price when law enforcement walks in and apprehend you, put you in handcuffs, and put you in the back of that cruiser and take you off the jail away from your family for time that you could not imagine. Whatever it takes to bring you back to your senses. Yes, that should be where we are today. But I welcome your thoughts. And it's not emotional for me. It's just common sense. They are killing. They are killing machines. They don't care. They want to make a name for themselves. They have no conscience, no soul, and there needs to be a new mindset about these killing machines. Lock them up and forget that they exist, and set a precedence that if you do this, this is the price you're going to pay. It's a harsh one because you will concede your life and your career and all the things that it can bring you for being so demented, so lost, and so sick that you could post something like this and eventually carry it out. Law enforcement, do your job and lock them up and toss away the key. I'm Armstrong Williams.